everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about my TBR for this year's Owls Readathon. I'm wearing this hoodie specifically for this video, as I'm a Disney princess until I get my Hogwarts letter, and today's the day. Your girl finally got her letter. If you're new to the whole concept, I did this last year, but I did this later than everyone else. It happens once a year in April, and then the Newts Readathon happens in August. But you can do your owls in July if you had missed April. And that's what I did last year. And last year was the first season. Obviously my brain is still on TV. Last year was the first year for this readathon, and this is year 2, and things have changed a little bit. The whole concept is like the owls is the test that Harry Potter takes in his 5th year. And so there's prompts for each of the subjects, and for each subject you read that prompt and you get that particular owl. Now owls is 10 times easier than the newts, which makes sense because the newts is what Harry Potter takes in his 7th year. At least we assume he eventually takes. I think it's just Hermione that eventually takes it, but you know, I digress. So we're going to talk more about that when the newts readathon comes along. Now last year's readathon was definitely more free-form. You could read whatever you wanted, just depending on what subjects you wanted to take. This year, there's actual careers that you can pick, and for that career you need to read particular prompts, which is very cool because the whole point of these owls is for the students to know like what sort of careers they can have once they graduate Hogwarts. So I love this edition. It definitely gives the readathon more structure, which I really appreciate because I'm really ambitious, and if I say at a TBR, I'm like, well, for this subject there's 12 subjects in total, so if I want to get an owl in all the subjects, then I have to read 12 books, which is a lot. And my perfectionist brain goes, we need to try to do all of this, which is not happening. I know me, it's not happening. So I love knowing that I can pick a career, and this is what I need to do to get that career. This readathon was created by Book Roast, and she created this really lovely PDF of all the different careers, and this PDF was wonderfully designed. It was very pretty. I didn't print it out to show you, but if you want to see it, I've listed all the appropriate links down below, like all the owl prompts, all the careers you could have chosen, and her announcement video. So if you want more information, because I'm doing a crummy job explaining it, feel free to visit those links. I know for a fact I'm doing a crummy job explaining it because I keep on going down various rabbit trails. So the career I chose was librarian. I know, shock, you're really surprised. I figured, you know what, since I actually work as a librarian in real life, I'm technically a librarian's assistant, not a librarian because I don't have my master's. But I'm like, you know what, maybe in some worlds I can be fully qualified as a librarian. And in the Harry Potter world and the wizarding world, that's all that matters to me, honestly. Now, to be a librarian, I need to complete 5 owls. But if I want to exceed expectations overall, I do need to read 6. So here are the ones that I definitely need to finish. We have Ancient Runes, Arithmancy, Defense Against the Dark Arts, History of Magic, and Transfiguration. Not gonna lie, I'm really excited that Transfiguration is one of them, since, you know, McGonagall is my favorite character. It's a month-long readathon, so I'd be very surprised if I didn't finish all of these. Now, if I just do the bare minimum, in order to do my newts, I just need to do 3 of them, which is Ancient Runes, Defense Against the Dark Arts, and History of Magic. At the barest of minimums, I need to do 3, and that would get me an acceptable, and then I can take my newts in those subjects to still be a librarian. But like I said, I'm a perfectionist, so we're gonna really try to go for it. So the first one, Ancient Runes, which is a retelling. I need to read a book that's a retelling. So for all these prompts, I picked a physical book and an audiobook because I'm not entirely sure how my schedule is going to work this month. For the physical book, I chose Part of Your World, A Twisted Tale by Liz Braswell. As you can see, this is the ARC. I got this ARC in last year's BookCon, and I feel really terrible. So I got this. I was with Sylvia over at Wish Fulfillment. I'm like, yeah, I'll read this, and then once I read it, I'll send it on to you. This book is now published. I've waited so long, and I'm pretty sure Sylvia has already read it at this point. So, 1 point for being a crummy friend. This is obviously a Little Mermaid retelling. This is what happened if Ursula had won and not Ariel. And the audiobook I chose is Gabriela by Ashley Poston. This is a Cinderella retelling, obviously. This is a contemporary version. Our Cinderella character runs a food truck, and she come across this famous guy that goes to a convention. So that's the overall story there. I actually own the physical copy of this as well. I'm mostly going to try to read books that I currently own because, like I said, I'm trying to move to Los Angeles and we need to cut down on stuff. So if I know it's a book that I'm met on, it needs to go before I leave. The second prompt, which is arithmancy, work written by more than one author. For that one, I had a couple choices that I owned, but in the end I chose Fresh Ink, which is an anthology by all these lovely people. Nicola Yoon, Melissa De La Cruz, Sarah Farazan, Melinda Lau, Daniel Jose Older, Walter Dean Myers. I'm just reading through all these people. Oh, Jean Lin Yang, Jason Reynolds. It's a lot of people took part in this book. Again, as you can see, this is an ARC that I got in 2018, so last year's BookCon. I actually got this signed by Nicola Yoon. I got one of her books signed, and since I had this as an ARC, I had asked her to sign this as well. I think I'm going to try to read the books that I've gotten signed that I have never read, and I think I'm going to have to apply the same rules. If I don't love them, they need to go. Because it shouldn't matter the fact that they're signed. And if I don't love them, we can try to get homes for these books that are signed, because I'm sure there's someone who actually does love them that would love to have them signed. So we're going to try to stick to that rule for the signed books as well. For the audiobook that I chose for this is Meet Cute, which is another anthology. It's basically a bunch of short stories, how people are meeting different people for the first time, and the overall theme is, well, was there a purpose to meeting them? Are they soulmates? Are you meant to meet these people? That's like the overall theme to this audiobook. I wouldn't say to this audiobook. To this book that happens to be an audiobook. I'm getting this through Audible. I still have an Audible credit I haven't used, but I want to try to find it in my library first. I'm trying to get all the Harry Potter audiobooks, and I would rather use my credit for that. So we're going to see if it's at the library. If not, then I'm going to have to use my Audible credit. The next prompt is Defense Against the Dark Arts, Reducto, title that starts with an R. And for this, I chose Release by Patrick Ness. Again, it's an ARC that I didn't read. I need to be better about that. I can't be taking arts and not reading them because I'm preventing them from going to homes from people that would actually have read them. I don't think I'm going to Book Expo or BookCon this year. I'm definitely not going to Book Expo, but if I do end up going to BookCon, which is very low possibility, I'm going to have to be much better about taking these arcs. Because it's also not fair to these books as a whole. The whole point is to get the word out about these books, and I'm not doing that. I didn't say what this one was about, I just realized. All it says on the back is 12 label-defying stories, one unforgettable collection. So probably just them talking about their own identities, but I could be completely wrong. We'll find out at the end of the month. I think this one's a contemporary, and that is My Hair. So yes, this is definitely a contemporary. We have Adam, who's just trying to find out who he is. Like, he still has feelings for his sort of ex Enzo, but he has a new boyfriend, so he should be in love with him. He doesn't know. So, and a lot of stuff happens to put his life into chaos. So yeah, this is just a coming-of-age tale. And I also was able to find this on Hoopla as an audiobook, so I'm definitely reading this one for this prompt this month. The next prompt is History of Magic, which is a book that was published at least 10 years ago, and both books that I chose were published in 2007. For the physical book, I chose Still Alice by Lisa Genova. I got this for Christmas from my mother-in-law, I want to say a couple years ago, and I just haven't gotten around to reading it. And if I remember what this one is about, which has been a while, this is about a woman who believes she has her life all tidy and in order, and then she finds out she has cancer. Okay, so she doesn't get cancer. I'm sorry, I misspoke. She gets the diagnosis of early onset Alzheimer's disease. So that does change the relationships that she has with various people. And it's her either coming to terms with that or her family coming to terms with that. I don't know. I know this is a movie, obviously, but I guess we'll find out together what this one is truly about, because like I've said in previous videos, the less I know about the book, the better, because I want to be really surprised by everything that I read. And for the audiobook that I chose for this prompt is Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman. I've been meaning to read that for a while. It's available as an audiobook through Hoopla. This one is about a guy named Richard, a young man with a good heart and an ordinary life, but his life has changed forever when he stops to help somebody. And his small act of kindness propels him into a world he never dreamed existed, where people fall through the cracks, and Richard becomes one of them, and he must learn to survive in a city full of shadows and darkness, and if he will ever return to the London he knew. Not gonna lie, I kind of want to read that one more than Still Alice, but we gotta read through our physical books first. So if there's time, I gotta read Still Alice. And the last prompt that's been assigned to being a librarian is Transfiguration. Read a book with sprayed edges or red cover. For the audiobook, I chose The Library Book by Susan Orlean, if I'm remembering the name of this author correctly. And this is actually, I want to say, a nonfiction book. Yep, I was correct. It's Susan Orlean. It looks like a nonfiction book. On the morning of April 28th, 1986, a fire alarm sounded in the Los Angeles Public Library. And it was a pretty disastrous fire. Oh my god, it reached 2,000 degrees and burned for more than 7 hours. Oh my god, that poor library! I knew this book was about the fire at this public library, but I didn't realize how intense it was. And if I move to Los Angeles, not if, when I move to Los Angeles, that's going to be my personal library. So that's going to be fun to really learn about. And this is an audiobook that I got through the library. I wasn't able to find it through Hoopla, or I suppose I could use it as an Audible credit, but I don't want to. And for the physical book, I chose Vicious by V.E. Schwab. This is the first book in a series. And I kicked my stand, sorry. This is actually a book that I did get from last year's BookCon, and it is signed by V.E. Schwab. But I really love her as an author, so I highly doubt I'm going to want to give this book away. Victor and Eli start out as college roommates. It looks like this is either going to be a hate to love or a hate to friendship sort of situation. They're in college, and they're obviously going through these supernatural events, because that is, V.E. Schwab's jam. I kind of hope this is a hate to love sort of book. We'll find out together, y'all. We'll find out together. So that is everything that was assigned to being a librarian. But like I said, in order to get it exceeds expectation for the overall readathon, I do need to read 6 books. I thought about maybe doing potions, but I think it'd be better as a librarian if I take Muggle Studies. And for that prompt, it's contemporary. Which for the audiobook, I chose Listen to Your Heart by Casey West. That was an audiobook I was able to find through Hoopla, and that is a YA contemporary romance. I own this book as well. It's signed by Casey West, but like I said, if I don't love it, it needs to go. But for the physical book, again, it's an ARC. It's a short history of the girl next door by Jared Reck. Our main character is a guy named Matt, and looking at the back super quick, this looks like to be a coming-of-age tale for Matt. So just to wrap up super quickly, this is a month-long readathon that in order to be able to go to Newt's, I need to read at least 3 of these books, which is these 3 books if I only read the physical books: Still Alice, Part of Your World, and Release. That will get me an acceptable score, and I'll be able to move on to the Newt's. However, I am a person that really wants to succeed, so I really want to try to get exceeds expectations, which is the 6 books I just showed you. To get an outstanding, I need to read 9 books, and as much as I really want to blow this out of the water, the only way that is happening if I find a bunch of graphic novels that associate with some of these prompts, which I still may end up doing for some of these, because I like to leave all my work to the last second. That's it. That's all I plan on reading for April. I'm obviously not reading both the audiobooks and the physical books, but what I do plan on doing is doing a weekly vlog like I did for the booktube games. So yeah, that's all I got to show you for this video. Let me know down in the comments below if you're participating in the Owls Readathon. Let me know what career you chose. Let me know if you're doing vlogs. I would very much like to see who else is participating. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I guess it's ta-ta for now. Bye guys!